What is up, wrestling fans? It's that time of the week for these guys from NI Wrestling to talk all things pro grappling and call it right down the middle. That's right, it's time for this week's edition of NI Wrestling Presents Wrestling Night Live. And we are live on the Nerd Initiative YouTube channel, also the Facebook, Kick, Twitch, and X. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about some pro wrestling. First and foremost, I am your host. I am also the head of NI Wrestling. My name is Rich. Joining me as he does, well, actually, he was absent last week. So I can't say each and every week. Most weeks in the co-pilot's chair. He is the man that doesn't need an introduction, yet he has the longest introduction in all of Nerd Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the host of the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour podcast, better known as the ODPH. I give to you the host of Turn a Page, the comic book showcase every Tuesday night, right here on the Nerd Initiative YouTube channel. And of course, most importantly, and last but certainly not least, he is the man who is the editor-in-chief of nerdinitiative.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Ken M.
Nerd Initiative's Trios champions are back in the building. So chat, super chat, make your voice heard. We got a lot of pro wrestling to talk about.
And last but certainly not least, he is the man that joins me each and every week. He has been known to chase down and hunt down those Pokemans because he's got to catch them all. Also, he likes to watch the world of pro grappling. But most importantly, this week, he is on the road. That's right. It's no gimmicks needed, just Nick. This week, sponsored by Motel 6.
Yeah, so I was out hunting the Pokemons all day. I'm on the road, but I couldn't miss out. I had to be here not only to talk a little pro grappling, but I got to throw a happy birthday to our big dog sitting there, right there. Yeah.
That's right. It was my birthday technically yesterday, but thank you guys. Thank you so much. It was a good birthday day. I went down a little journey, and I haven't had dinner with my not my wife, but my life mate, Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my wife kind of fell on the ice. She's okay, but it was an interesting day. So good times. You know, I'm 42, so there you go. I don't mind telling my age. Don't feel any different than I was when I was 41, or even 40, or even 38 for that matter. I don't know. It all starts to go downhill at 30, just so all the kids out there know.
It's true.
Hey, I feel great.
Sure.
It'll catch you.
It's going to catch up to you eventually. One day you're going to wake up. It's pain you never understood.
As the Pokemon master, I'm the one who catches them all.
Ah, yes. Well, with that being said, before we dive into this week's show, because we got a ton of pro grappling to talk about, including previewing 2 huge, gigantic shows going down this weekend. One from Total Nonstop Action, one from GCW. And of course, there's some big WWE TNA news as well as the huge debut for World Wrestling Entertainment. But before we get there, first and foremost, I would like to implore all of you to go to the home of pop culture positivity. That's right, nerdinitiative.com. There you can find all you need to know about wrestling, comics, movies, TV, and more. We had a huge 2024. We're looking forward to an even bigger 2025. Join the revolution of pop culture positivity over at nerdinitiative.com. Next up, this one is the little homework assignment. If you are watching us on Facebook, Kick, Twitch, or X, make sure you're following us there as well, because whenever we go with a live video, we're on there as well. However, I implore you to now go over to the Nerd Initiative YouTube channel. And if you're already at the new YouTube channel, you've already got part of it done. While you're there, make sure you smash that subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications so you know whenever we go live or put up a new video. And last but not least, tap that thumbs up so the boss Michael knows you want to see more pro wrestling talk and actually just more content in general on the home of pop culture positivity on YouTube, Nerd Initiative's YouTube channel. All right, gentlemen, I think it's time. To talk about some pro wrestling, shall we?
Let's do it.
And let's open up with what I probably think is the biggest story of the week. Am I not correct?
The Brodies?
Well, the Brodies, they're coming up. We'll talk about those at the end of the show. But I think the biggest thing of the week was the debut of Penta in World Wrestling Entertainment. It went down this past week on Monday Night Raw. And remember, we were the ones that said, hey, let this play out. We were all upset when it was going to be that tag team match. Hey, it's a way better idea. Thank you, by the way, Kat. It was a way better idea to have him in a singles match against Chad Gable. And guess what? It was a way better idea to have him in a singles match against Chad Gable because A, we got one hell of a match, but B, the world found out why everybody's high on Penta, the performer that he is in and out of the ring. Some little surprises. i.e. him talking at the end. We haven't heard that really before in the US at least. Hell, I thought overall this is a huge success, got a big pop. People are excited to see Penta, and in one night he became a star. Nick, what are your thoughts on the debut of Pentagon?
You know, I think that Michael Cole on commentary said it best. The world's worst kept secret in wrestling was the debut to Penta. Everyone knew about it, and nobody cared because everyone went wild for it.
Yeah,
He's,
absolutely.
you could see there's a little bit of a style that he's going to adjust more to that WWE style, which will work really well for him because he's a very, very flashy, talented performer. So to really highlight those moves and instead of rushing through things as he's done in other places, because that's the style, and some people like it. But WWE, they work a little bit slower and really emphasize some of those big moments. And this is a whole bucket of win. We got to see a Penta promo. That's something we've never seen on US TV. That was amazing, and the crowd ate it up. I ate it up, and I can't wait to see where they go from here. I mean, sky's the limit with the amount of new, fresh feuds for him.
Ken, your thoughts?
This was about as perfect of a debut as you can make. We knew he was coming. It was literally the worst kept secret in all pro wrestling. They had the merch out for sale before the show.
9 hours before the show.
Yeah. So we all knew he was coming. But still, those moments when WWE puts such a big emphasis on a new talent joining the roster. We saw this at WrestleMania when we all knew the worst kept secret was Cody Rhodes was debuting against Seth Rollins. This had that same kind of vibe because the crowd was electric. The minute you saw the music kick in, the spotlight went down, and CERO MIEDO was shouted out, that whole place came unglued. And you could tell Penta, who is always very serious with the character, and you could tell he was enjoying the moment because he finally made it here and maximized the time and that promo at the end. Like, that is something in the Vince era we never would have saw, but Triple H is pushing that. And that is such a connection to a new audience because there was a lot of fans that didn't know who Penta was before that match, but I guarantee you they know who he is now.
Well, first and foremost, that mask has been the highest selling article on WWE Shop since its debut. That has been put out there. So, hey, wondering why. I mean, I understand a lot of money up front for Penta, but I wonder why nobody else, Pro Wrestling Tees or anybody else decided, hey, we should probably sell Penta masks because it seems like a killer, especially if they're $75 and they're selling out like that. Secondly, speaking volumes to this, yeah, it's the worst kept secret, but at the same point in juncture, this came after a hell of a opening promo with arguably three of your biggest stars, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and CM Punk, where they all entered the Royal Rumble, and did what they do best, you know what I mean? Cutting promos. Yeah, I mean, you come out there, you have a banger of a match with Chad Gable selling. I don't know if we saw that much sell. Like one of the knocks on Penta for years has been he doesn't sell. He sold his ass off in that match. Chad Gable brought it because let's be honest, Chad Gable's one of the best. I like his remixed Kurt Angle theme music now. Let's just steer into it because it is what it is.
Yep.
And I even liked it after the fact on his social media post. I still hate luchadors, but last night was, why I fell in love with wrestling. Great. Breaks character, but doesn't break character. With Penta, you had the whole package. You have his family sitting in the front row, his daughter crying her eyes out, obviously a dream of his and his family to be there. Words that even words that he said in English, where he's talking about how everybody's excited that he's there, but nobody's as excited as he is to be here. And then going on in Spanish, and I'm going to paraphrase, saying, he's there to represent the Mexican people and be proud, as a proud Mexican, he's going to elevate, the culture. And that's an amazing thing to be a part of. And the crowd went into it. You saw some reports online from the talking heads. Yeah, I know we're talking heads as well, but not to that extent where they're, oh, well, he went over and people were mad. Listen, guys, you can't go over on Netflix because Triple H had already pointed out that show can go 15 minutes or 8 hours. It doesn't matter. And on top of that, the show ended at 10:32. Okay, so if there's an overage, why did they end the show essentially 28 minutes early? But once again, there is no set time. The show ends when the show ends. So I don't think anything got bumped. It's just some morons thinking that, oh yeah, we have a scoop for you. No. It's the terrible world that we live in the pro wrestling industry. I mean,
But for WWE, it's amazing because, like you said, they have the flexibility to
Mhm.
do whatever they want now on Monday nights. You can run long, you can run short.
Absolutely.
They're
Abso
uncharted territory of it.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
It's
I enjoy all of it. And like you said, we have Friday nights now, 3 hours. I thought the
Mhm.
first 3 hour SmackDown went very well. Raw has gone very well for the first 2 weeks on Netflix. You get to see a lot more. You're doing a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts that are executing very well. I think right now we've been in this era of WWE hitting on all cylinders, and they continue to hit on all cylinders. I mean, you're getting all the stars out there, you're getting people time, you're getting things built up, and it's just rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. And it's like at some point this has got to stop, but it's not. And as a fan, I'm like, hey, let's keep rolling. And Penta was just another big example of which. And I got to agree with Dave LaGreca for Busted Open. He basically said, and I think we can all agree on this. I'll pass it around that. No offense to anywhere else, no offense to anybody else, because this is not about us and them, but that promo at the end did more of making him a superstar than anything he's probably done in the ring. And nothing taking away from Penta, because he's an absolute performer, but I don't know if the fan connection, maybe in Mexico it has been. I mean, we know that for sure, but in the States, I don't know if the fan connection was as strong as it became after Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I think, yeah, for domestically in the US, yeah, this was the biggest moment. And that promo did connect him to a brand new audience. Because we have all seen him, even when he was wrestling in TNA, when he was wrestling Lucha Underground, when he was wrestling in AEW. He's always been a phenomenal in-ring performer. But to make that connection with the crowd, we haven't seen that until this moment. So yeah, this was his crowning achievement thus far. And now they just have to capitalize it with whoever he's going to be facing in a feud moving forward. Like they have to keep that momentum rolling, which I'm sure they will. But yeah, right now it's the top level.
Nick, anything you want to put to button it up?
Yeah, I mean, like it was kind of like the last piece of the puzzle to go out there and have a real emotional connection moment with the audience, and to do that on your first night, to just go out there, you get the big pop, you have the big match, and then you get the big promo at the end. I mean, like it may not be the world's greatest debut ever. We've seen some really good ones, but it's certainly up there in the top. This is, if you are trying to debut any superstar, this is a great roadmap on how to do it.
Absolutely. And I will say this, it led to also my favorite rumor of the week on the internet that Ray Phoenix had gone to Jack Perry's house to smack the living X out of him so he could possibly get CM Punk out of the company, which we all know is not real, but whoever came up with that was kudos to them because they got people talking about it. It was hilarious. For anybody who believed that, it was kind of weird, but it was kind of the great rumor. But although we've heard that since Joey Janela said it.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
CM Punk gave you the blueprint. You just got to go beat up Jack Perry real quick. I'm surprised Jack Perry's not getting beat up every day.
Yeah.
At this rate. Anyway.
Well, he's cooled off a little bit. He could use the help.
Hey, I like Jack Perry. Maybe, hey, listen, if he wants to do business, brother, there's a built-in story for him to come to WWE. If you think about it, I'm not saying he's going to. I'm just saying I would understand. With that being said, I did have Kat in chat disagree with me about the biggest story of the week. And I will agree. The biggest news story in the week, the biggest wrestling story in the week was definitely Penta and the return, or the debut, I should say. However, the biggest story in wrestling this week was a little bit of news that we got that, as I read from the official press release that was released today, January 16th of 2025, entitled WWE and TNA Wrestling announce multi-year partnership, NXT superstars and TNA wrestling stars who appear across weekly WWE and TNA programming, WWE Premium live events, and TNA pay-per-views. There we go. WWE, part of TKO Group Holdings, New York Stock Exchange TKO, and TNA Wrestling, one of the world's top wrestling brands and a subsidiary of Anthem Sports and Entertainment, today announced a multi-year partnership aimed at creating unprecedented crossover opportunities within WWE and TNA programming for NXT superstars and TNA wrestling stars. The agreement will enable talent to garner additional exposure across key WWE and TNA programming, including weekly flagship shows such as NXT, which airs live on the CW, and TNA Impact, select WWE Premium live events, and TNA pay-per-views, in turn bolstering their in-ring development with exposure to world-class talent and coaching. This historic relationship demonstrates that collaboration and competition do not have to be mutually exclusive, said Ariel Schneever, Senior Vice President of Content and Distribution for TNA Wrestling and Anthem Sports and Entertainment. Our partnership allows the TNA Wrestling brand and its incredible athletes to reach a significantly wider audience while giving WWE and NXT stars an opportunity to cross the line and gain valuable experience as they join forces with one of the most talented rosters in professional wrestling today. The response to our collaborations over the past year has been tremendous, and both companies have benefited, but the fans have reaped the greatest rewards from this talent crossover and work relationship, end quote. Next quote. We look forward to growing and evolving our partnership with TNA Wrestling and its outstanding group of athletes by creating new opportunities to further the development of our talent and to elevate the viewer experience at home, said WWE Senior Vice President of Talent Development Creative, Shawn Michaels. Wow, that title's a mouthful.
Yep.
Vice President of Talent Development Creative, HBK. Former TNA Knockouts World Champion Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry frequently appeared on NXT programming in 2024, highlighted by an NXT Championship match featuring Hendry and Ethan Page at No Mercy, an NXT Women's Championship match featuring Grace and Roxanne Perez at Battleground. Many NXT superstars also crossed the line into TNA Wrestling, including Wesley's short-lived reunion with the Rascals, Charlie Dempsey and the No Quarter Catch Crew, Riley Osborne, Dante Chen, Gallus, Ariana Grace, Tatum Paxley, Izzy Dame, Wendy Chu, Brinley, Reese, and more. TNA Impact airs on Access TV and TNA Plus in the U.S., in addition to being distributed internationally on TNA Plus and other leading broadcast platforms, including Sportsnet 360 across Canada. In November 2023, WWE and the CW announced a 5-year agreement to bring NXT to broadcast television for the first time in its 13-year history. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a hell of an announcement. It's very wordy, but very good. Ken M., your thoughts on the continued long-term deal between WWE and TNA?
Huge win. Huge win. I mean, first and foremost, we might have the greatest faction going to the greatest place for a storyline ever, with the Wyatt Six going to the Supernatural TNA side, because can you only imagine what they're going to do when they have their usual departing
Unaliving?
storyline? Yes.
And where they can really unalive people because they won't be back.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, boom, right there was the win. But to think about what Triple H, Nick Khan, Shawn Michaels, and everybody's been doing there, working with TNA and giving this exposure to them, really working hand in hand like a true forbidden door should be working, and giving talent a new audience to go work with left and right. It's nothing but win. The dream matches that could happen. And plus, the talent doesn't need to leave a federation per se. They can stay where they are, but they get those opportunities to get broader exposure for even more stardom. Like I say, this is all win.
By the way, before you go, Nick, we have to take remembrance. R.I.P. You will always be Miss Johnny Bravo. Go ahead, Nick. What's your thoughts on TNA and WWE's partnership?
I think Ken really said one of the most important key words is opportunity and opportunities. You know, TNA has been on death's door multiple times over the past several years, and now it's really thriving. And this renewed partnership, because we're about a year into this, this is amazing to see this company really turn around and really start growing again. And the opportunities are endless for talent to go back and forth. We live in a world where there is so much good quality wrestling. Everything last year, who was not really hitting last year? Everyone was hitting in one way or another when it came to wrestling. And to now have an opportunity for TNA to get pulled up, we've seen GCW, MLW, they're rising up. New Japan, they had an amazing year, and they've had an amazing start to this year. AEW has been doing their thing. There's not necessarily enough opportunity. WWE is going to run into a roster crunch if they start bringing in so many people. They can't do it. But if you have the strong partnership with TNA, and there's plenty of WWE alumni working in TNA. That's one of the reasons why I think this partnership works so well. You go there and you don't have to worry about them not really, straying away from the WWE kind of way, the WWE model, which they love that. This is an opportunity for everyone. It's an opportunity to showcase your talents. It's an opportunity to interact with the WWE audience, a TNA audience, and everywhere else around the world. It's amazing.
So what we found out is that for this last year was that when you do the new WWE, the TKO version of WWE, the one that's, ran by Triple H. When you do business with WWE, you're going to get some newsworthy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whether, i.e. the deals where we had Jordan Grace coming in and Joe Hendry coming in and some talent going over to TNA as well, really getting some stride for the young kids. However, also at the same time, you had the deal with Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yep.
And, right now the giant Omos being used probably better than he's ever been used in Noah as a member of a heel faction, just dominating people, looking like Godzilla out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you have the deal with Mari Gold, which, is gone under the radar a little bit, but, the return of Io Sky to Japan. And, obviously for a while, Julia was working both promotions. And so you have this whole dichotomy, and we live in a world where even the indies are being affected by WWE. With the WWE ID program, we've seen ID matches at smaller companies where it really shined a light on these companies that are smaller independent companies. I mean, they did announcements at Beyond. They did announcements at Freelance.
Right.
That's where Kylie Ray got announced that she's a part of WWE. Was at a Freelance show. We're big fans of freelance wrestling out of Chicago. Everybody's getting these things, and WWE is just like, okay, we understand that there's a giant world out there. No longer are they closed. And to the point of, Michael Cole on commentary now being able to talk about people's careers, Penta Debuts. And what does he do? He runs down the list of all of his accomplishments, minus AEW, obviously.
Yep.
But
minus one.
well, you're not, if you're going to call yourself competition, we're not going to mention you. That's the old school philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But if you're working with us, we're going to mention you. We're going to put you over. We're going to give you, stuff. People could be like, well, they're only sending this or that. I don't know. Seems like Pro Wrestling Noah's doing pretty well with having Omos, and they've had the No Corner Catch crew, and they've had Briggs was over there for a while, and they're enjoying the talent that's being sent over. Obviously, Nakamura has been sent over both years for the New Year's show. Somewhere Gabe Kidd's sitting there like, hey, that could be us.
Yeah.
And he said it out loud
right?
before.
Because, there's a very large, diverse audience of wrestling fans. So, and there's so many talented people. There's not enough time for everyone, number one, in front of a WWE camera. And I know Netflix shows can be as long as they want, but realistically, they can't run forever. But if you have someone who's talented, like Omos, and it's like, hey, if you work here, your body of work will really show up well here, or vice versa going over to TNA, because everything's a little bit of a different audience, because everyone does things a little differently, but the opportunities are endless.
WWE has the opportunity now with this official deal, though. This is I do believe their first official deal.
Correct.
They've had other deals. Obviously, we talked about Noah and everything. They're sending people, but I don't think there's a real contract in play. This is a real contract. This is a real, hey, we have, I do believe it's 5 years of a partnership planned out, scoped out. So now WWE has a really cool thing that they can do, and I'm hoping to see it. Can you imagine watching a TNA event and the final boss comes out? Not to wrestle, but just to stand in the ring. We saw him doing NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if at Genesis, everything goes down and all of a sudden here's The Rock? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could.
Oh, yeah.
Or Roman Reigns or so. And I'm not saying they have to wrestle. Just showing up would be enough for people to go, you know what I mean? It's the rub that you want. Sometimes it's better if they don't wrestle. Because i.e. does it really do, and not to pick on the relationship, but when AEW and TNA did their thing, did it really help TNA when Kenny Omega went in there and just dominated everybody for the belt?
No, in my opinion, absolutely not. Like, that showed what could go wrong. And I think that WWE has looked at that deal. I think the whole wrestling world looked at how that went down and saw how things could go south very quickly if it's not a 50-50 relationship, in this sense where WWE and TNA are really acting like 50-50 partners here, which is what needs to happen, because it's going to elevate both brands, which I know sounds kind of crazy thinking WWE could even go higher here. But if you think about it, they're going to get exposed for, I think a lot of their NXT talent is going to go there for exposure, and that's only going to help them because they can wrestle a certain style there. And plus, you're going to see the TNA stars come over to the Netflix shows, which, I mean, let's face it, they're now becoming must-watch events because it's now hitting a whole different demographic. So everybody's raising their stakes that much higher. That means they're going to have more competition amongst themselves, and iron sharpens iron, and that's what we're going to have here.
Like, I have another pitch, because obviously I don't want to get too much in the weeds with it, but the whole Corey Graves situation, which I still think is kind of a work. as I'm watching it come real time. I still think it's kind of a work. And at the end of the day, I think that you could really benefit from having Corey Graves go over to TNA and be the commentator there for a little bit, build up a few, because honestly, how I think this is end up going to be a work is I think that at Mania, we're going to get, Pat versus Corey. Because Corey Graves was cleared to wrestle.
Yeah, that's
Pat
true.
McAfee versus Corey would be great. Hey, look at that. Dino's in the chat. What's up, brother? Thanks for the happy birthday.
Just think about this, wrestling, this WWE, TNA, but there are other partnerships. We're moving into a world where anything is possible and nothing is off the table and everything is unpredictable. That's the best thing about wrestling, when you can't predict what's going to happen. You can't even predict when the Monday show is going to end. You sit there in your mind and you think the match is kind of wrapping up and it's like, okay, they're going to do a little segment and then the show's going to end. The show can end whenever now. The opportunity of just unpredictability is back in wrestling, and that is so awesome for the fans.
On the other end, I think finally we need to get Josh Alexander on WWE. We've been calling for it forever. It's
now watch. This will be the time he jumps ship to AEW, and then everything gets thwarted.
I don't even think that'll happen.
No.
I think that there's a lot of Jordan Grace is showing the way.
Yeah,
quite frankly, she's showing the way. Here the thing is, I think this is a big bucket of win for both companies. WWE can use this to, bring it up there. I see your Jake something versus Braun Breaker, by the way. That match would be phenomenal.
I'm throwing in super chat. I posted in there. I want to know everybody's dream matchups now because the Forbidden Door is wide open. Who would you like to see in a WrestleMania type match?
Ooh, that's a good one. Actually, I'll just say it because we just saw it. Josh Alexander versus Jacob Fatu. I think that's happened before, but I'll let that happen again. That would be something, right? I think that would be great. But there's a big bucket of win for everybody involved in this. I don't think that there's a loser in this partnership because
I think there's one.
So well. Who?
the third wrestling company that's got a TV deal. Yeah, they're kind of the loser in this one.
Absolutely, but the problem is that there's a right way and a wrong way. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. And I'm not here to judge what they're doing over there. But I think that, yes, this does elevate, TNA, obviously. Obviously, TNA is going to be in front of a sold-out house in Garland, Texas this week. What is Pat got?
Pat has been saying this since the news broke this afternoon. Obafemi versus Moose. Reinforce everything.
That would be a match I'd see.
Yeah.
I don't care if that's on TNA or WWE. I'd watch that match.
I'm fine in that.
That match is top shelf right there. There's a lot of great matchups that we could definitely get. And once again, this would be a great experience for somebody like an Obafemi who is just used to wrestling the WWE way for the most part to go out there and get to wrestle a different kind of format and different kind of style. And I think that that's what they're using it for. Because now if you look at the main roster in WWE, it's not all cookie cutter. Guys wrestle different. Yeah. Guys are being allowed to do more things. We saw that with Penta on Monday. We've seen that with CM Punk since his return. CM Punk is not wrestling WWE CM Punk style. He's wrestling CM Punk style. You know what I mean? Seth Rollins is now wrestling a different style. Kevin Owens has reverted back to his, great old Kevin Steen form. You know what I mean? It's a new day. Yes, it is in WWE. And we're starting to see that, and pun intended. We're really starting to see that. And every time we go, well, when is this going to end? Something like this deal with TNA happens and go, okay, it's not going to end. And I think that there's got to be a point where we just go, hey, this is just the new norm. In a dream world scenario, if people could get together and people wanted to do business, the other wrestling company you alluded to earlier, Nick, could do business with WWE. Might be on the table. But it wouldn't be under the unfortunately, the reason why that won't happen is it wouldn't be under the direction, and it would not be under the geist of what a certain individual who runs that company wants. They would have to give up something, and they don't like to do that. And that is what hurts in the long run with doing a partnership with said company. Not trying to be negative and mentioning them and that, but that's how it worked. It's how it worked in the TNA partnership. It's how it's worked a lot of the ways in the New Japan partnership. New Japan started to see that. Wrestle Dynasty was a New Japan show, and you notice they kind of did the opposite and put over their guys. It wasn't a 50-50 mutual split. WWE people go to TNA and they lose. TNA people come to WWE and lose, but they also win. Jordan Grace was on the winning 10-woman tag team.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like they're not using people to their, you know, people got title shots. I mean, Joe Hendry earned a title shot. He wasn't just given a title shot. He became #1 contender by winning a match. So therefore, there's a give and take, and there has to be in wrestling, period. Now, mind you, that's not saying that Roman Reigns is going to do the job to somebody on a TNA show, because I don't think it's going to happen. Of course not. Once again, Roman Reigns ain't doing the job to most people, brother. Or should he? Because he's Roman Reigns. Beating Roman Reigns means something.
Yeah.
Beating Cody Rhodes means something. These guys are guys who will do the job, let's be honest, but you've built them to a part where it means something. Beating a Kevin Owens even means something. You know what I mean? So you can't have those guys just out there willy-nilly losing. But you could see him losing in a main event match. Oh, absolutely. I could see a Kevin Owens versus Nick Nemeth, and Nick Nemeth coming out on top. Why not?
I mean, the possibilities are literally endless.
So I think this is stay tuned, buckle into your seats, because you know who wins? It said it in the article. The wrestling fans reap the rewards of this one. They reap the rewards, and we're going to continue to reap the rewards. Speaking of reaping the rewards, let's talk about TNA wrestling. It's the last graphic, and I just want to remind you of that. We can this live. We do everything live. This upcoming Sunday, January the 19th, 2025, from Garland, Texas, at the Curtis Caldwell Center. It is the 2025 TNA Genesis pay-per-view. It is going down. I do believe the pre-show easy for me to say. Pre-show starts at 7. The main card starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're going up against some solid. We're going to be talking about another show that's going down at the same time. And of course, the Buffalo Bills also play that night as well. So there's playoff football to be had by all. It's a crazy world we live in. All right. Shall we run down the card?
Yes.
Let's start off. There is one pre-show match announced so far. Frankie Kazarian taking on Leon Slater. This should be a barn burner. The veteran against the young and up-and-comer. Your thoughts on this, Nick?
I love Frankie Kazarian. I'm so glad that he's went back to TNA to just help out there, and he gets to wrestle and everything. This is going to be a typical barn burner match. They're going to beat the snot out of each other.
Ken,
give it to me. I'm all in about this one.
I'm gonna go with Leon Slater, but I want.
Yeah, if I gotta choose, Slater. But
but
Frankie, I mean, you can't go wrong there.
Next up, we're kicking off the main card with the TNA X Division Championship. Your champion, by the way, unlikely X Division champion, Moose. Got to get the hand motion in there, right? Taking on a guy that we love a lot, Ace Austin. Ken, this is a tough one for you. Who you going with in the X Division Championship match?
This one is a tough one for me personally, but I gotta go with ABC here, and I gotta go with Ace on getting this belt.
I am also going with Ace Austin on this one. I don't know why. It's that old David versus Goliath, and I think Goliath has to fall. Nick, your thoughts?
I don't know why you guys are struggling with this. It's Ace. That was easy.
I mean, this is gonna be a hell of a match.
It's gonna be a hell of a match. It's a big.
We'll be wrong. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Maybe this is where we set up Moose versus Obafemi. There you go, Pat. Next up, we have the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships on the line. Your tag team champions, Spitfire, Jody Threat, and Danny Luna, taking on Ash and Heather by Elegance with their personal concierge in their corner. I'm kicking this one off. I've just never been impressed by Ash or Heather by Elegance, but I'm a big fan of Spitfire, so I'm gonna go with Spitfire and still. Nick,
it's still. Yeah, this should be a lot of fun, though. I think this will be fun. I think this will be sneaky, really, really kind of fun.
Good.
Spitfire, but then they could get confronted at the end by Fire and Dawn, and we start setting up some business there.
Oh, I'd love to see that. That would be awesome. That'd be a good matchup.
Yes,
absolutely. Next up, put those mouthpieces in because you're going to need them mouth guards for this one. The Walking Weapon. Josh Alexander goes one-on-one with Mike Santana. This match could be the barn burner. This match could be the match of the night. Nick, you get to go first. Who do you got walking out with the bragging rights here?
I'm going with Santana in this.
All right, Ken.
My dentist, because it's going to hurt my teeth and everybody else watching at home. Because, this is going to be one of the most hard-hitting matches of the year. But I'm going Mike Santana, too.
I think Mike Santana needs this win. I think he's going to get this win. This is a big moving stuff, the card for Mike Santana. He's done very well on pay-per-view. So I think he needs this one as well. Next up is a match that I know a lot of people are interested in for a lot of different reasons. Of course, that we're going to get the Juggernaut Jordan Grace taking on Tessa Blanchard. Who would have thought we were talking about Tessa Blanchard in a major wrestling company ever again? However, here we are. It is 2025. I don't know if this is Hulk Hogan levels of bad, but who knows? Ken, you get to get, or no, sorry. Yeah, no, Ken, you get the dubious distinction of going first here.
I'm going to say now, because of the deal, Jordan Grace.
I'm going to say Tessa Blanchard, because even though there's the deal in place, I think Jordan Grace is finishing up, which is the rumor, and I think she's going to be full-time on WWE. I do think that she'll still be crossing the line, if you will. Huh? You like what I did there? However, I think that it'll be as a full-time WWE performer, because they're very high up on Jordan Grace, as they should be. And, you usually go out on your back. I mean, I don't think in real life the two of these women like each other very much, according to some interviews and stuff. But once again, you don't have to like somebody to do business. Proof of which is Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, etc., etc. But I'm going to go with the time-honored tradition. So I'm going to go with Tessa Blanchard going over, because I think Jordan Grace is finishing up in the territory, if you will. Nick, your thoughts?
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Rich. And I really think if you really want to continue building some really strong heat, Tessa Blanchard.
Indeed. Next up, we got the TNA World Tag Team Championship match. Your champion, Jeff and Matt, the Hardy Boys. Are they boys anymore? Or are they men now?
I don't know. Nick hit him.
There we go. There it is. And they're taking on, pretty much the mainstays of the TNA Tag Team division, the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. Listen, man, this on paper, it's the team that probably inspired every team, including the Rascals, taking on the Rascals. Of course, Jeff and Matt have seen better days. They're a little older or wiser now. I don't know. I have a hard time believing the Rascals aren't walking out with these tag team titles. However, maybe Wesley gets involved again, continuing on a little something to kind of throw something out there. But outside of that, I'm just going to say the Rascals and new. Nick, you're up.
I'm going with the Hardy Boys. Come on.
You just want to do the dance.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly think this is an opportunity for a little WWE connection here. So that's why I'm picking the Hardy Boys.
Well, where's the connection? Just the Hardys were in WWE?
Well, just maybe the New Day come out here and lay them out, because they're on a tear and they have a connection with the Hardys, so they would be comfortable doing that. That could be kind of fun.
Can we get you to paint your face like Jeff Hardy if the Hardys win?
Yeah, I can do that. It's easy enough. I don't know if I'm be as good, but I can do it.
He's like, I would do that on a normal night, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Ken.
I got to get my Penta mask first, though.
Oh, I think Pat actually stole some thunder where I was going with this. I think the Rascals win, because I think they're going to get confronted by somebody, but I was not thinking Fraxium.
Oh, please, God, no. Baby Jesus, please, no.
That makes sense, though, for TNA.
It does, but baby Jesus, no. New Day makes TNA rich, especially after we saw Xavier Woods put up the Consequences Creed photo today and talk smack about TNA.
It's all swerve.
So I feel like that would be the better way to go, but that's just me, just because I don't like Fraxium.
Yeah. No, I think the Rascals win outright. But somebody comes out at the end, I think.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I'll tell you there's something going to go on here. There's going to be a lot going on here. Clockwork Orange House of Fun match for the TNA Knockouts Championship. We have your TNA Knockouts champion, fresh off her appearance at NXT, Masha Slamovich, hashtag we love Shake Shack. That's right. She made enemies. And then, of course, she's taking on Rosemary, who is definitely a mainstay and one of the top women's wrestlers, not just in the world, but in TNA wrestling as well. Nicholas, you get to go first here. Who's walking out the TNA Knockouts World Champion at Genesis?
Well, I don't love Shake Shack, so
boo.
That's my answer. Shake Shack is fine. Five Guys is better. That's just my opinion. So
I think Ben's going to kick you off.
That gives you my answer.
By the way, you said you needed help with Google Docs. I think that just went out the window.
That's fine. I'm going to jump out this window.
Ken.
I need to reset after that. I think Masha wins. I think the fact that she was featured on TV, I think just might tip their hand a little bit with this one, but this is going to be a hell of a match.
Listen, I think Ann still, but I'm not ever going to say that, because Shake Shack for life, bro. I don't care what Nick and Masha Slamovich are cooking up there. So Rosemary, I'm rooting for you 110%. 110%. Most of New York is behind Rosemary solidly. That brings us to the main event of the evening, though, ladies and gentlemen, for the TNA World Championship. Your champion, the most wanted man, Nick Nemeth, taking on, say his name, and he'll appear.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's right. We got it in there. Joe Hendry gets the title shot. Is this the time that he finally becomes TNA World Champion? Ken, I know you're not voting against him.
Of course, it's Joe Hendry's time. It's about time. About damn time.
The most wanted man wins, and The Rock comes out and Rock bottoms both their jabronis.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, no, I'm joking. You know what? I can see Joe Hendry winning this match. This is going to be one of those moments, though. I got to say it. It's got to be one of those, poop or get off the pot.
Yeah.
I think I'm saying that as PG as I can.
No, but you're exactly right. I mean, he had so much momentum with being one of the original TNA Forbidden Door roster members to come over. And they had him in a high-profile match, and he always kind of alluded to, say my name anytime, any place, anywhere, I'll appear. You have to capitalize on that at some point, and I think now with the deal coming, it's like now or never. So I think they really put more pressure on to make that move happen. So I think they have to come through with this.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Nick, you go to the go last. Who's walking out your TNA World Champion?
I'm going with Nick Nemeth because I think Joe Hendry is going to be in the Royal Rumble because say his name and he appears any place, anywhere.
I like it. I have faith in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just don't feel that. I don't feel they would put him in that spot if he had the big belt on him. Then I feel like you're kind of locked into doing TNA stuff a little bit more. But if he doesn't have the big belt on him, he can appear. Say his
However,
name.
Jordan Grace has appeared twice as TNA Knockouts champion in the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
That is fair. But the men's is generally can be a little bit more stacked. So,
but I think if he was number one, just to get that entrance, just to get the whole crowd wound up, I could see that going. And then they're like, "Oh wow, it's Joe Hendry."
I'd make him number two only because nobody would see it coming.
Yeah,
one would be a good surprise, but two would be such a pop because you wouldn't see, and then you could do the whole entrance still.
Yeah,
that'd be great. I could be going either way. But I still think it's one of those poop or get off the pots. Or here's the thing: is he WWE bound, which we all think he is eventually? I don't know when his contract is up, but is it kind of like a Jordan Grace deal where he's just going to do whatever to put TNA over before he goes in full times for the other team? Not saying he won't cross the line, pun intended once again. You know what I mean? But you know what? Great night of action. But that's not the only show going down on the 19th of January. And unfortunately for TNA, which I love TNA, but I am wearing my GCW plant shirt. That's right, because I am a GCW plant on this show, and because it is the show that I host, I get to talk about it. And I think this is a huge night, because this upcoming Sunday, we right the wrongs of the past. If you haven't seen all of the promotional materials for this, and on January 19th, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Triller TV, we have Game Changer Wrestling presents The People versus GCW. They wrote this backwards on here, by the way. From the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, aka the Manhattan Center. It's going to be a wild one. I was there for the first one, which was not a GCW show, but this one very much so looks like a GCW show. Let's run down the card, shall we?
Let's do this.
In a six-man tag team extravaganza, you have the team of Griffin McCoy, Kerry Morton, and our favorite resident, let's say it on live, asshole, Tony Deppen, taking on the New York Legends, the notorious 187 Homicide, the Grim Reaper, and they announced it early. Their partner doesn't get any bigger in New York Legends, the one and only Amazing Red. Talk about a legendary New York team. The only person missing from this squad is Eddie Kingston. And I'm not convinced that he doesn't do some sort of run-in. And I understand that usually AEW hasn't been playing too nice with GCW lately, but I don't think you tell Eddie Kingston what he is or isn't doing.
Yeah, I mean, I fully see Eddie crash in this match because this is a moment for New York.
I just want to point out, if you hear "Destroy Everything" by Hatebreed, just run. Just if you're live, run. If you're at home, get ready for some fun stuff. Because if you didn't know, that was Homicide in Eddie Kingston's entrance music, and it worked very, very well for a long time. Just throwing that out there. Seriously, we'll start with you, Ken, on this one. Who's walking out? The New York Legends or Team Asshole?
You know what? It's the Legends. Legends all day. This is gonna be an amazing match. I mean, Tony Deppen and Homicide going at it is like I'm excited for. But Amazing Red. I mean, like, come
Amazing
on,
Red, dude. Amazing Red. I'm going with the New York Legends. We're in the Hammerstein Ballroom. It's a big time show. The New York Legends got to come out on top.
Yeah.
Nicholas, who you got walking out of People versus GCW?
Yeah, no, I'm going with the Legends as well. I'm trying to sit here and I'm just trying to think of who else could get involved at this point. Who else is left as a New York Legend? Like that.
SATs.
Yeah,
that's true. The SATs get involved in this match. I would like to. There's a couple other people I would like to see. We always forget that the Rottweilers once. I mean, he's not from New York, but it did. Rocky Romero was in the Rottweilers. That was the thing.
Taz is from New York, right?
Taz is from New York. So isn't Hook.
Commentary.
So isn't Hook. I mean, he is free to do commentary. I mean, he has been training with Samoa Joe allegedly.
See,
good stuff.
Taz comes out to open the show.
I think that would get a huge pop, especially if he comes out to the old ECW Taz music.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, man, we got a steel cage match. Richard Holiday. Oh boy. Richard Holiday did a cardinal sin because he messed with the wrong man. He's going to be in the steel cage with the psychopath himself, Charles Mason. If you don't know about Charles Mason, Charles Mason has been responsible for unaliving numerous people in storyline, of course. And he got ratted out by Richard Holiday and taken to prison. But now he's been back and he's been taking out everybody around Richard Holiday and now has him in a steel cage in the Hammerstein Ballroom and has promised us, there will be blood. Once again, you don't bleed in the state of New York, but there's been a couple people on this show that said, there's going to be blood. So it's got to be interesting to see how this one all plays out.
Mm-hmm.
I have no reason to believe that Charles Mason is not walking out of this cage the winner. So we'll leave it at that because I don't want any other problems with Mr. Mason. Go ahead, Nick. Who do you got walking out of New York, the steel cage in particular?
Well, since I'm from an undisclosed location, I don't see Mason winning this. I see him getting a huge reaction and going nuts, but I don't see him winning this match. I think that kind of continues the story.
I don't want any problem with Charles Mason, so I am taking him with this. Albeit though, with the forbidden doors swinging open, him versus the Wyatt Six, I think would be absolutely bananas.
I like it. Next up, a woman who finally made her debut on AEW after being signed to them for what seemed like forever, Megan Bayne. She's got a tough task in probably her last GCW match as she takes on the man who just returned to be a thorn in the side of GCW and, more importantly, promoter Brett Lauderdale, Atticus Cogar, dropping some of the best promos, incredible best promo videos. What she does, this promises to be violent. If anything else, this is another match. Atticus has promised there will be blood. Nick, who do you think's walking out of the Big Apple, the winner of this match?
You go out on your back, so Atticus.
Oh, this is Atticus all day.
Yeah, I think we're going across the board for Atticus. I think this was Atticus, even if Megan Bayne didn't debut on AEW, because I have a philosophy for the end of the night that we're going to come back to. Next up, in a singles dream match, ECW and Japan legend Masato Tanaka goes one-on-one with the bad boy, Joey Janela. This is a match Joey Janela has been asking for. Masato Tanaka, despite his age, still doing incredible things in the ring. So we're going to get the bad boy versus the rolling elbow. Ken, who's walking out of New York City, your winner of this one?
Is it wrong? I just want Jacob Fatu to just crash this and just him and Tanaka one time.
Or Zilla Fatu?
Yeah, just give me that one time. I mean, I love you, Solo.
I love you, Solo.
But I mean, for this one, it's hard to go against Janela, but this is going to be just absolutely insane.
I'm going to stick behind the bad boy. I think the bad boy comes out on top here, but Masato Tanaka, this is going to be a good match.
Yeah,
it's going to be an incredible match. I think it's going to be an underrated match. In my opinion.
Oh, clearly.
Nicholas, who you got?
Yeah, I'm agreeing. Joey Janela.
Ooh, we get to do what our favorite thing is. We get to speculate next, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, in a singles special challenge match at this point, Juncture. Always ready. Matt Cardona goes one-on-one with a mystery opponent. Now, we do know a few things. Matt Cardona has now become somehow the head of the revolution for Game Changer Wrestling. He went from the heel to now, like, literally cut some of the greatest promos. And the video and him and Van Vliet talking about how if it wasn't for Game Changer Wrestling, he wouldn't have the second chance he's had now. And he wouldn't have, he would still be doing the woo, woo, woo instead of being Matt Cardona and being always ready. And he said because of this, he owes everything to GCW. So you better believe that, and this was a post from him, paraphrasing, he said 8 different opponents have fallen through for this match. 8 different, think about this for a minute. He said when the story for this finally comes out, there's been 8 different matches that have somehow fallen apart. However, he doesn't care because no matter what, he is going to make a moment happen because he owes it to Game Changer Wrestling and to the fans. So I believe him, yo. I'm going with Matt Cardona to win no matter what. However, speculation can run wild here. Who does Matt Cardona face? So Nicholas, I gave my pick for the winner. Who do you got Matt Cardona facing and who do you got winning?
Racing? Yeah, because I mean, we sit here and we say it could be anyone, but obviously it can't be anyone. And there are some limitations there. And if you're trying to get someone from Cardona's past, I know it probably won't happen. Nick Gage and Gage wins.
By the way, that was my same thought too, because one of the things about this show is they've said they were writing the past, they're writing the wrongs of the past. We know that Nick Gage has been talking about Lauderdale again after all the things that happened because he was in that GCW suite at Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised. That was going to be my pick as Nick Gage makes his GCW return. Him and Cardona, of course, have the history. That was the first match. Makes sense to run it back at Hammerstein. Go ahead.
No, I was thinking the same thing because this is all about righting the wrong of GCW versus the world, which on paper should have been, such a monumental event, but it wasn't a GCW show. If you have Cardona wearing the flag of GCW like a cape and is representing the indies, he needs to take out the guy that put GCW on the map, and that's Nick Gage. Like, that has to be the match. I mean, if you want to do this locks and leap style, the lock is Nick Gage. The leap, Cody Rhodes.
That would be incredible.
That was my other thought as well. Yeah.
That would be incredible. I don't know if they can pull that off, but that would be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a run-in, like it'd be a schmaz finish, but
could you imagine if the music hits and it's Rhodes?
Yeah.
All the people would kick themselves in the ass for not going to that show. I'm just saying. I don't think it's going to be, but you never know. I've never.
Well, that's the thing, right?
If we GCW do have a working relationship,
right? And if we live in this world of unpredictability, at some point you kind of have to go big. You need a Cody, you need a John Cena or a CM Punk or someone. They eventually kind of have to do it at some point. Otherwise, you will feel a little underwhelmed at times. You don't have to do it all the time. You can't go to that well every time, but once a year, you just
Eddie
get
Hart
something
incoming.
that's just,
No, but Nick brought up somebody I didn't even think about. But what if it is Cena?
Could be. I mean, he does have a history in Hammerstein.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, that would be the ultimate leap because nobody would see it coming because he's supposed to kick off his farewell tour. But why not? I mean, him and Zack Ryder, him and Cardona, I should say. There's history.
You're Hammerstein. There's a big ECW presence because we're going to see that. We saw it earlier. We're going to see it again. What if it's RVD?
That would be amazing too.
That would be amazing.
That would be an ECW thing.
But at some point in these partnership deals, you have to go big, and you got to do it like, maybe like once a year. You have to go like massive, and maybe, hey, get it going right now, right?
If this was TNA, then I would say maybe that is more of likely. However, I'm never saying never. We've seen some stuff. I think I'm going to go with Ken. Lock is Nick Gage. Leap, it's some huge name from WWE that we all go, what the hell happened there? Just throwing it out there. Next up, or Rob Van Dam. Next up, though, speaking of ECW, there's a good old ECW 6-man tag team extravaganza. On one side, we have Los Desperados, Arez, Gringo Loco, and WWE ID member Jack Cartwheel taking on Team Extreme, Little Guido, Super Crazy, and Yoshihiro Tajiri. That's right, I said it. Super Crazy, Tajiri, and Little Guido all in one match again. They ride again.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you go against them?
Nick, Team Extreme or Los Desperados?
I'm going Team Extreme.
Again.
Team Extreme all day.
I think, you know what? I'm going to go with Los Desperados. But I think Team Extreme, like, because I think those guys are going to put over the young kids. Not saying they can't get it done. Super Crazy still look good in the ring. I've seen him recently. So does Tajiri. Little Guido, you know, seen better days. But I still love Little Guido. Don't say I don't love Little Guido. I do, but just seen better days. Here's one of the big matches that we've been promised, and we're going to get in a blood sport match. The king of the blood sport match, Josh Barnett, goes one-on-one with Tom Pestock, formerly known as Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Didn't see this one on your...
No, did not see this one coming. Absolutely blew my mind to see this.
Ken, you get to go first here. Who's walking out winner of blood sport?
You're going to have Barnett win, but you're going to see the formerly known as Baron Corbin put on an amazing performance, and he's going to win over that crowd. So he's going to be a winner in defeat.
I am also going with Josh Barnett, but I think that the formerly known as Baron Corbin is going to have a chance to make a name for himself, much like one Matt Cardona did, and I think he's going to take advantage of that as well. Nick.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. The only other way I see this match going is some sort of a no contest, because they literally just like almost kill each other, like, and that would be what would, help get both guys over. Like, but yeah, I feel like this is going to be most people's match of the night.
Hey, we're gonna get violent. We're gonna get ultra violent.
Yeah,
because the GCW Extreme and GCW Ultra Violent Championship will have a unification match. So coming out of this, there'll be an undisputed GCW Ultra Violent Champion. And this is a DLC match, doors, ladders, and chairs. That's what the D stands for. So first of all, we have the vacant GCW Ultra Violent title, vacated, of course, by Sawyer Wreck when she retired after her last match where she won the belt and also was attacked by Atticus Kogar in his return. Well, in this match, we're going to crown that, but we do have the GCW Extreme Champion making her return to Game Changer Wrestling from injury. Maki Ito, the cutest in the room, will be defending the GCW Extreme title. In this match, though, it is a who's who of the past and the present and the future of Game Changer Wrestling. As we have one of our favorites, Matthew Justice.
Yep.
The Duke of Hardcore, John Wayne Murdoch. The legend of deathmatch wrestling, the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont. One of mine and Ken M's favorite wrestlers in the world. Former GCW Ultra Violent Champion, Rina Yamasha. Another one of our favorites, Brandon Kirk.
Yes.
Dr. Redacted. And it gets even worse or better, depending upon what you want to see here, because Drew Parker is back in a death match. One of these fine human beings will walk out as your undisputed ultra violent champion. Ken, you get the pleasure of picking first. Who you have walking out as the undisputed GCW ultra?
Listen, if you have not seen these competitors compete in their natural habitat of a death match, you don't know what they're going to be bringing to this table. Let alone you have doors, ladders, and chairs. Oh my. I mean, because I have to make a pick, and this is like, you can tell the stress in my voice about doing this. This is not an easy choice because I could see about 4 of them walking out. I'm going to take Rena. I never go against Rena.
I love Rena. I will say this, just process of elimination. Matthew Justice and Drew Parker are going to take themselves out in some crazy spot.
Yes. Well, yeah. Justice will be in one. Yes.
Dr. Redacted will also do a crazy spot in this match. The Bulldozer, who is the heart and soul of everything because he's the deathmatch legend here. I don't think he's going to go over, but I think he'll be taken out by one of those gentlemen. So it really boils down to me between Maki Ito with a huge upset, Brandon Kirk, who in a lot of ways would feel like the heart and soul pick, Matthew Justice, who would be like, it's about damn time pick, and of course, Rena, who is, in my opinion, nothing against anybody else in this match, probably the one that should win the match.
Yeah.
However, with all that being said, I think it's time for a heel to be champion. John Wayne Murdoch, who has been an incredible heel. I think I can get away with it at this point in juncture. He did just tell a crowd about 2 weeks ago to stop cheering for him. He doesn't need their stupid chants, and they could eat his ass with a jar of peanut butter.
Okay, then.
He said that he won my respect. He ran my respect a long time ago. I'm going to go with John Wayne Murdoch because we need a heel. Go ahead, Nick.
I was picking Kirk, but I do like your argument about a heel champion. But I'm sticking with Kirk.
There you go. I love it. You know what? We got a little bit of something, everything on this show. Because next up will be a daredevil high-flying extravaganza at Sidney Akeem, a young man who has made a huge name for himself over the past year in Game Changer Wrestling and elsewhere. He has a real test in front of him because he goes one-on-one with El Hijo del Vikingo. This match is going to be a barn burner. We haven't seen El Hijo del Vikingo on TV in a long time.
Coming back from injury, yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting spot here. I don't know. I'm going to go with El Hijo del Vikingo to win this match, but Sidney Akeem's going to come out looking like an MVP like he normally does. Nick, your choice.
Yeah, Kingo on the return.
Ken, you finish it up.
Vikingo. But I agree with you. Everybody in this match is going to look absolutely amazing.
In a match that could be possibly next year, up for next year's Brody for match of the evening, or tag team match of the year, sorry. For the GCW World Tag Team Champions, the most dominant tag team champions in the history of that company. Violence is forever. Probably the best tag team in the world today, in my opinion. Dominic Garrini and Kevin Koo. And they take on a team that we all love. The Garbage Daddies. That is the East Coast Beast, Alec Price, and the king of Wreck S Mountain, Cole Radrick. Oh, baby. This is one of those beautiful moments. Nick, who walks out in New York, your GCW World Tag Team Champions?
I'm going with Ann still, but this is going to be something. I don't see this being somewhere where one team really dominates the other.
Ken M.
And new in the upset.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be the feel-good match of the night. The Garbage Daddies are walking out with the belts, baby.
It has to.
Well, think about it. The most dominant tag team. They've been GCW World Tag Team Champions for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
They're one hell of a tag team. They deserve to be on any major promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't hurt them to lose, but this is that heart and soul match. You got to have a heart and soul pick, and I think the Garbage Daddies are that pick for a lot of people who watch independent wrestling. Well, the next 2 matches are tied in together, but we'll go with the first match in a grudge match to determine the number 1 contender for the GCW World Championship. It's Daddy Effie taking on Mommy Allie Catch, the new and improved Allie Catch with a badass attitude against Daddy. Who walks out your number 1 contender, Ken M?
Another one tough for me to pick. Because Allie Catch in this new persona has been absolutely lights out. But it's Effie. I can't go against the franchise of GCW. I mean, in my opinion, like Effie is everything that is amazing with GCW. So I'm going Effie.
I am also going with Daddy. Nick.
Yeah, same.
So that means that in the main event of the evening for the GCW title, it will be your world champion, the old master, the Southern psychopath, Mance Warner, taking on Effie or Allie Catch. But we all picked Effie. And I'm going to say it like this, and new. I think it'll be that heartfelt moment where Effie finally becomes the GCW world champion. However, we kept saying that the one thing that they've built this pay-per-view around is that we're going to right the wrongs. And the biggest wrong was the first time that they were Hammerstein. The original plan was for Jon Moxley to drop the GCW World Championship to the up-and-coming star, Atticus Cogar. Some things happened. That match didn't happen. Atticus went out and left the company. We all know. Detriment to his career, and it hurt GCW too. I think both parties got hurt by it. Even though GCW has been very successful, I think both parties have been hurt by it. I think this is where it repeats. I don't know who he's going to grab, but I think a la the Rhino Sandman incident in the Hammerstein for the ECW title, where Rhino grabbed Sandman's wife and said, I'm going to break her neck and put her through this table unless you fight me for the belt. Right now, after he went through a war and won the belt and the crowd was excited. And of course, he agreed. Rhino still put her through a table. And then Rhino put him through a table with a spear and won the belt. And that was the last time they were in Hammerstein.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Van Dam would return and they would have the main event between Van Dam and Jerry Lynn, because why the hell not? Right. I think that Atticus is going to grab a hold of somebody, whether that's Brett Lauderdale or somebody else that FE cares about. FE, because even though he says he's learned his lesson, hasn't. He's going to be beat up from 2 matches, especially with people who don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
And Atticus is going to pick the bones. And at the end of the day, we are going to leave New York righting the wrong. Atticus Cogar is your Game Changer Wrestling World Champion. And it just sets up the whole year of how are they going to get that belt back. One of the reasons why I think Nick Gage might not be on the show, because if that's the eventual goal, that's better to keep it a secret. But that's my pitch. That's what I think is going to happen. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I'm still going with Effie to win, and then everything after that is up in the air.
Gotcha. Get him.
It's Effie's time to shine, but I think much like you alluded to, and I was thinking when Taz took the belt and then for GCW when he took it off Mike Austin.
That too.
And that whole moment. That I think something's going to happen where Effie puts it on the line. Cogar makes a lot of sense. I'm just wondering, does he get help from a returning 440?
Possibly. There has been talks, Ricky St. Page.
Yep. So I think that they're the ones that help him win, thus putting the family back together and the most hated faction of all GCW.
Could you imagine if Ricky St. Page swerves the GCW crowd once again by coming out to his original music, thinking he's a baby face? Because him and Atticus have been going at it lately. And then once again, like he said before, all I had to do was come out to different music and you people ate it up like I was a returning hero.
Yep.
It's crazy. There's so much that they could do here. So great card setup. Whether you're watching TNA or Game Changer Wrestling, you're definitely winning on Sunday. Sunday, big day of pro wrestling action. With that being said, though, we did go in a little bit in the overtime because we had to give the due to both of those great shows.
Absolutely.
Nicholas, tell the fine folks how to chat with you about Pokemans and pro grappling.
Listen, and we live in times where social media is all up in the air. That's why I just stick to Instagram. So you can click that QR code link right there and you can find me there. You know, I'm on the road. I'm hunting Pokemon right now. Maybe I found something here. Maybe I found something there. You know, maybe I got a suplex of Snorlax. You never know. So you have to find me on Instagram and you know, ask me. Or every Thursday, I hang out with Rich. I hang out with Ken. We talk some pro wrestling on Facebook, X. Do we do Twitch?
Just say Linktree.
Say his name, he appears.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Always off. Yeah. Always off. All right, Ken, you have a laundry list. Hit them up.
Well, I was going to say, if you're never sure where to find Nerd Initiative content, just go to our Linktree and all our bios, because that'll take you every streaming platform, every social media account, and you can interact with the team behind the culture that is pop culture positivity. But if you want to find out what's going on, me and Padawan Jay, who's in the chat as well, simple, new episodes are out this week on the OD page. So right there, boom, click that QR code. If you're new to Nerd Initiative, we do love our QR codes here. So click on that. They'll take you everywhere you need to go. Also, we do comics here at Nerd Initiative like nobody else, and the official pregame to New Comic Book Day is every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, this past week, we had to do a little earlier time. Daniel Kibble-Smith, who is the writer of Darkwing Duck that is coming out for Dynamite Comics, swung by the show. So we definitely got a lot of great information. If you're an old school Disney fan, you're going to love this book coming out. If you're new into comics, you're absolutely going to dig it too. Like, there's a lot of big win with this. So if you want to find out about that, boom, click that QR code. It'll take you to the latest episode. Plus, we have a special episode dropping this week on Nerd Initiative. So nobody really knows about this right now. So if you want to find out, you got to make sure you do the homework assignment at the end so you don't miss it. But we talked about comics, and nobody does New Comic Book Day like Nerd Initiative. Reviews dropping every minute. We put our ones up, because that is what we do here at Nerd Initiative. Over 35 reviews on the site this week from Marvel, DC, Boom, Distillery, Image Comics, Dark Horse Comics, you name it. If it's a book you need to know about, it was reviewed and then some.
Absolutely. And I led off this week.
Yes.
Dude, good. Go check out Distillery.
Yeah, You Won't Feel a Thing by Scott Snyder and Jock. Amazing book.
Great book. Good choice to start off with. More great stuff coming, but a lot of great books out there. A lot of great books coming out this week. A lot of great books coming out every week. You want to make sure every Wednesday starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're checking that out. And of course, all the social medias, because then you get to see the videos and the posts and et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you're checking all of that great stuff out. If you would like to talk to me, though, you can go to 3fnpodcast.com. Get all the social media links there because the 3FN social media links take you to me. If you want to talk comics, it's I do believe it's Rich from NI at Blue Sky, however they do their thing. So I'm just doing that on Blue Sky. Outside of that is all the 3FN stuff. However, if you would also like to support and check out an adult humor podcast, which tomorrow, because of weather, we had to take a week off. But tomorrow we hit you with a double as we did the 2024 Nerdies, where we gave out our best of the year for 2024, according to each one of us, and our previews for 2025. There's a lot of stuff coming up, including us spitballing what we're going to do for older movies. And we did announce we're doing the big one, Jaws, for his 50th anniversary.
Yep.
So that will be going down this year. So the Adult Humor Movie Review Podcast, check it out. A lot of fun. We had a good deal of fun going down. Of course, that brings me to the home of pop culture positivity, nerdinitiative.com. That's where you go and check out all those Wednesday comic book reviews. Check out some news and stuff that's dropping in the world of comics, also movies and TV. If you want to know what's going on with Nerd Initiative, you need to stop by the home of pop culture positivity, nerdinitiative.com. Because I am obligated contractually to say so, there is a merch shop where you can buy Nerd Initiative swag. Please do so because it's pretty awesome. There's Wrestling Night Live and Turn a Page swag, also NI Wrestling, and so much more. Go stop by and support it. If you don't want to click on the QR, it's simple. Just go to nerdinitiative.com and click on the merchandise page. Booyakasha. It'll appear just like it's Joe Hendry.
Yes.
And last but certainly not least, if you're watching us on Facebook, X, Kick, or Twitch, thank you so much. Make sure you're found us there and then head on over to that QR code that brings you over to the Nerd Initiative YouTube channel. If you're already there, bam, you got most of it done. Make sure you smash the subscribe button. Make sure you click that bell icon for notifications so you know whenever we go live or put up a new video, including whatever that turn of page stuff is about. You don't want to miss it. You know how you don't miss it? Hit that bell icon. And of course, hit that thumbs up to let the boss, the GEO, Michael know that you want more pro wrestling and other content on the home of pop culture positivity on YouTube, Nerd Initiative's YouTube channel. What's up?
We also have one other thing to remind everybody about because it is award season and there is an award show that is going down here on Nerd Initiative, the 2024 Brody Awards, honoring the best of the best in pro wrestling. So the ballot is live right now at nerdinitiative.com. It's in the social media links. So you definitely want to go make your voice heard about who is bringing home the gold in the land of pro wrestling.
And of course, the Brody Awards will be taking place on the January 30th. I almost said October for some reason. The January 30th edition of Wrestling Night Live, because obviously we will be doing a full-on pre-show for WWE's Royalist of Rumbles coming up that Saturday. So it's going to take the big main event seat that week coming into the Royal Rumble, which is as it should. So vote now, vote often, make yourself heard because it is really by the fans and for the fans. And hell, you can even write people in. I think we had a good selection this year, though.
We have a very good selection.
But
a lot of great feedback.
Can write people in. Well, with that being said, that brings us to the end of the show. Until next week, when we discuss what went down at TNA Genesis, talk about all the happenings from the People versus GCW. And also hit you with the great and bad news, however the news comes, of World Wrestling Entertainment and, of course, AEW and everywhere else. And in closing, because I didn't want to take a sad moment earlier, WWE Hall of Famer, Baseball Hall of Famer, and all-around good guy, rest in peace, Bob Uecker, giving you the ones at the end of it. You will be loved and missed forever. You are one of the most awesome people who ever was involved in wrestling and baseball. If you don't believe me, just check out his work at WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 4, and beyond. Not to mention, get him up there for the Major League movies and everything he's done over the years for the Brewers. So, Bob Uecker, this one was for you. Not to bring the mood down, I wanted to give him a shout out at the end.
Absolutely, though.
Next week, though, we'll be back talking more pro grappling. So, until then, for myself, for Ken M, for Nick, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and most importantly, later wrestling fans.